too stupid. Real quick, please. He's too stupid to realize he just proved my point.
So Rob, I got a question for you. You guys didn't really talk about foreign policy at all, and so like something simple that I think is important to understand is like even on the Western Hemisphere, something like seeing Latin American nations become less like the West, or perhaps developing in some ways their own opinions about things, and that's going to change the relationship. And so Donald Trump has been advertising these sort of like what I describe as micro wins. You know, like RTP didn't even have to say anything about that. It's almost like you're conceding before the point that there's no transparency. We don't know who, you know, who's influential. You know, is this going to be a Marco Rubio thing one day?
I mean, the fact that I conceded because I said Trump was doing good in foreign policy and my opponent didn't respond, and the fact that I didn't respond to arguments he didn't make shows I concede, says everything you know about debate strategy. No, I think that Trump's foreign policy has been marginally better than the Biden-Harris administration and better than what Harris would have been. There's 5 or 6 wars that the people involved in them have stopped or agreed to stop, though they may go back later, but they said that Donald Trump helped them out in the negotiations they had. I think that Trump's doing a great job foreign policy-wide by negotiating impactful trade deals and other things of that nature, and even policies that I initially finish. Last point. Okay. Even things that I initially disagreed with, like his attacking Iran, I'm still not a big fan of how he did that, but I think that it actually ended up being not as bad as near as it could have been based on the results we've seen since then. So I don't know what you're trying to say, something about Latin America countries that are becoming less Western. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you know, I think when the world is in flux, you know, I would define it as strong leadership is required, and Donald Trump appeared to you know, invite crony leadership, and it's proven that there's a lack of transparency. Not only a lack of transparency, like do you actually know what the largest opportunities and perhaps risks to your own family or your community might be that come from a globalized world? If you can't answer that, then you're never going to convince me or win me over.
Yeah, I think right now, the globalized world, the thing that's most risk to my family are fucking terrible people within this own country that are pushing degenerate lefty bullshit trying to indoctrinate my children. I think that that's clearly the biggest threat. But what you're saying, I just want to comment on this. You're like, well, is it Rubio's plan? Is it someone else's? Who the fuck's plan was the foreign policy under human vegetable Joe Biden? Who was running the show there?
Donald,
as lefties were covering it up, Donald by the way,
Joe Biden always had an agenda, and so when you talk about having an agenda, Rob, you understand this. It means we have something to talk about.
Yeah, millions of people crossing the southern border.
Hang on, Rob, you can't.
That's strength,
bro. You're
not
allowed to get away with
diplomacy.
That. Tell me, Rob asked you something specific. Who was setting foreign policy when Vegetable Biden was in office? Couldn't even remember where he was. Couldn't go out.
I don't know who Vegetable Biden is, Andrew.
Yeah, well, okay. Well, let me explain.
Biden is
the guy
Ashley, obviously,
the guy who was completely unable to even make coherent sentences in this debate.
President, you mean, Andrew?
Yeah, that guy. When he was checked out, he was clearly out to lunch, and the left was all over the place saying, no, he has all of his cognitive faculties.
Sharp
and clearly that wasn't true.
Whole narrative.
Can you tell me who was setting policy then? It wasn't the president. Who was it?
So one example is you can read the Biden briefs. I know I look crazy right now, but you can read the Biden briefs on the White House website, Andrew, that demonstrate and show Joe Biden took a different approach to things like the Abraham Accords, which would be more inclusive of problems like stagnation in North African economies, like sub-Saharan Africa, and like having a more cosmopolitan view.
Can you repeat back the question I asked you?
I don't know. It's probably
you don't know the question. You don't even fucking know.
It was probably incoherent. You win, Andrew. There you go. I got kicked anyway, so why don't you go fuck yourself one more time, buddy?
So how was that foreign policy out of Afghanistan and caused one of the
feeling the lefties are doing just great, and we would be doing even better, right? If Kamala Harris was in office.
I agree. True that.
I have a question for you.
Sure. What's up,
Completely explain how that would be the case.
At the beginning of the debate, when you guys were arguing over the debt,
Yes.
Do you understand why picking the year that a president starts and the year that the president ends is not an actual metric of the amount of debt that they create? That statutorily spending goes across presidential years into others. In fact, the entire first budgetary year of a president is from the previous president. Therefore,
Yes,
all the good
actually
stuff is
measure
your president's,
the debt
and all the bad
they
stuff
are
is our
actually
president.
responsible for, and not what happens when the years of their president, because a lot of it is not their spending.
So what we could see, it's the best metric that we have, unless you would get to pointing out the year after versus the year previous, and even that's not going to be. Let me
the amount of
please
debt that they created, right?
Let me finish, right? Like, it's going to be a better metric to look at the actual amount of deficit that was there, or the debt that was there when they came into office versus when they left, than would be to some nebulous. Well, we're predicting what could happen through CBO scores, etc., in the future. Now, we're not one full year into Donald Trump this time. So would you admit then that any debt that's arisen right now under Donald Trump will show up eventually only in year 2? And so any debt that's accrued based on this year would be Joe Biden's debt?
Yeah, a lot of it in his first year is going to be previous spending.
Okay, so then you can see the problem. We don't have a full picture of that yet. But when we're looking at the full picture of his claim that Biden spent less than Trump, do you agree with that claim, by the way?
Yes, absolutely.
I don't think that's going to be borne
out. All
out
the metrics are that Trump added 8.4 trillion to the debt, and that Biden is somewhere close to 5.
Okay, prove to me that Trump added 8.4 trillion. What years are you looking at to show that? The first year of Biden, and then
his first terms.
So you would say that you would look at
Trump's. Like, he's not the president anymore, so you can accumulate all the things that he enacted.
So just to be clear, you would say we look at year 2. We look at year 2 of Trump into year 1 of Biden. That's the debt we should be looking at.
No, it's not by year. It's by what they did in office. Right?
I think that what you'll see,
right?
I think that what you'll see is, right, that a lot of
this
spending.
If he signed something in year 4, it could affect the first year of the next president, right?
What we would see is that things that are being spent.
Just fucking agree to basic logic, bro. Come on.
It is true that if there are things that we're spending that would have continued to spend there forward, that would be things that would be considered part of their debt. But by the same token, then you wouldn't say that Trump.
Using the year by year,
let me finish. Then you're going to fall under the same trap. You said that Trump spent $8.3 billion. Prove it. None of that debt that he spent was from prior obligations that were made from Barack Obama or even George W. Bush in front of him?
Well, no, those are attributed to those presidents.
Okay, so then how can you specifically say? How could you specifically say that it was 8.3
laws that he signed, right?
So point them out. So like where's the data you're getting? Show me. You made a declarative statement. You said that he spent 8.3 trillion. Show me. Where's the data you're getting?
I'm not going to go.
In his mind.
That's what I thought. It's just, I've heard lefties say, I've heard
that's half this debate has been like, pull out the documents.
You're the one who's saying
this is easy. This is easy shit to find. This is really easy shit to find.
If it's easy to find it. What you're going to do, I'll tell you what you'll find. You'll find some group that's going to say.
You couldn't even understand the fucking debt.
I do understand the debt. I do understand the debt.
No, you don't. You've proven it over and over and over tonight that you don't.
You could just keep saying, no, you don't.
Okay, so find your fucking find your source then, dude.
What you're going to do is you're going to provide some sort of like partisan group that's going to say, we predict that Trump spending would be very big and Biden spending would be very little. It's bullshit.
Can I ask a question, RTP? What was when you say that Biden had an overall growth bigger than Trump's, then why did we see inflation spike so high under his term versus when we saw it under Trump's term and it didn't hardly spike at all?
So you cut out the first time. He had an overall what?
You were stating earlier in the debate that Biden had a better rise of growth whenever it came to gaining money for average people. How can you say that whenever Biden's inflation rate was over 9%?
Rob, do you know what he's referencing? I don't think that's how I said it. I'm not sure.
I'm sorry. It was a little murky. I'm so sorry. If you could repeat it. I didn't hear it.
I think he's referencing.
I could be rephrasing it wrong. But whenever you were bringing up about the real growth wages increase, you stated that Joe Biden had a higher real growth wage increase than Trump did in his first term.
That's correct. You did say that.
He did.
So if you're saying he had a higher wage growth increase, how the fuck was his inflation rate over 9% whenever Donald Trump's first term never went over 2.2?
So what I cited was the average monthly gain. I could pull up those numbers to answer your question. I could look at the source again.
This is exactly.
And that's different
I could clear
from what they
this up.
keep saying. You said right. That's a different thing. That's a different metric
No.
than what they
I
keep.
could clear this up.
You were claiming.
Yeah.
I could clear this up. This is what was said. He said wage growth was up, and he cited numbers that said wage growth. I said wage growth's irrelevant. What matters is real wage growth. And he said, yes, that's what I said, real wage growth. When I said pull it up because I knew that those numbers are inaccurate, he then changed and said, oh, no. I'm saying on average monthly it was up. I said, can you explain how if it was down over the full term of Biden's presidency, how on average it was up monthly? Then he changed what we mean by average. He said, oh, what I mean is most months it was up compared to most months it was down. But the initial number that he cited, like 2.2 to 2.7%, was clearly not saying some months it was up, some months it's down. He's lying. He moved the goalpost.
I didn't cite those numbers, and it's written
Yes, you
down
did.
like it was part of my opening statement. It's written down literally. It says average monthly gain 0.24 for Trump, average monthly gain 0.29 for Biden. Rob is lying. Rob didn't understand what I was saying.
That's literally making my point. That literally
Rob,
makes my point, you dumb bastard.
Rob, shut the fuck up, you dumb piece of shit. Shut the fuck up for 12 seconds.
Okay.
Just shut the fuck up. It's not your turn.
You want me to put a
You
sign
dumb
up?
bitch. Yeah, it's
I
written
thought
on
we
my
were
paper.
done
You can
with
go
the
look at
tick
the edit
measuring,
history.
gentlemen.
It's like it is what it is. Rob didn't understand what I was saying, and that's
He's
already
too-
par for the
He's
I have a
too
question
stupid.
for you,
Real
RTP.
quick, please.
He
He's
is.
too stupid to realize he just proved my point. My point was this. The number he was citing was just wage growth, not real wage growth. That's what he cited. I said we
Real
shouldn't prefer that. We should prefer
wage.
real wage growth. He then said,
real
no, that is real wage growth. I said, no, I don't think.
It
Prove
was.
it. Then he said it was average monthly. Okay, now he's
No.
back. Do you see how fucking ridiculous it is? Now he's back to the original argument. Show the source that shows that Biden's real wage growth was up like 2.4% month over month on average.
We can pull it again.
This
We can
is
pull it again
leftist
later.
debate.
It's
There's
so
no
full of shit.
positions. There's just principles.
I would
Be
challenge
the other way.
change
There's
his
no
argument
principles.
12
There's just
times.
I
positions.
would challenge-
All right.
When I need it from
Start
me
yelling
here.
over
I
each
would
other.
challenge-
I
I would
start
challenge-
reading money, and you all shut up.